Let me tell you about a hunger that never gets satisfied. You pick up your phone. Just for a second, you tell yourself. Just to check. Just to see if anyone liked your post, commented on your story, responded to your message. And then you look up and 20 minutes have disappeared. Maybe an hour, maybe more. You weren't enjoying it. You weren't even really present. You were just scrolling, consuming, feeding something that never gets full. And when you finally put the phone down, you don't feel better. You feel empty, anxious, vaguely disgusted with yourself, but also already thinking about when you can pick it up again. Because it's not really a choice anymore, is it? It's a reflex, a compulsion, a need that overrides reason, intention, willpower. You know it's hurting you. You know you're losing hours of your life to an endless feed of other people's curated moments. You know it's affecting your sleep, your relationships, your ability to be present, but you can't stop. And here's what makes social media addiction so insidious, so difficult to name, so hard to escape. It doesn't look like addiction, not the traditional kind. You're not hiding bottles or track marks. You're not losing your job or your home. You're just on your phone, like everyone else, participating in what society says is normal, what culture says is necessary, what the world says is connection. But somewhere deep inside, you know the truth. This isn't connection. This is consumption. This isn't presence. This is performance. This isn't living. This is documenting, comparing, competing, trying to fill a void that only gets deeper with every scroll. If you've ever felt trapped by your phone, controlled by notifications, unable to just be without checking, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you've ever wondered why you can't just stop, why willpower isn't enough, why you keep returning to something that makes you feel worse, stay here. Because what you're about to understand isn't about discipline or weakness. It's about psychology, neuroscience, the deliberate design of systems built to keep you hooked. And it's about the inner child inside you, still looking for something they never found, still hoping that the next notification will finally make them feel seen, valued, enough. Here's what's happening in your brain when you use social media. Every time you get a like, a comment, a message, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical involved in pleasure, reward, and addiction. And here's the crucial part, it's not the like itself that creates the addiction, it's the anticipation, the uncertainty, the variable reward schedule, the maybe this time there will be something good that keeps you checking, scrolling, refreshing. Neuroscientists call this variable ratio reinforcement, and it's the same mechanism that makes slot machines so addictive. You don't know when the reward is coming, so your brain stays in a state of anticipation, always seeking, always hoping, never satisfied. And social media platforms know this. They've engineered it. The infinite scroll, the pull to refresh, the notification badge, the algorithm that shows you just enough engaging content to keep you hooked, but not so much that you ever feel satisfied. Every feature is designed to exploit your brain's reward system, to keep you in that state of perpetual seeking. And your brain, your ancient brain that evolved to seek food and safety and social connection, it can't tell the difference between a real reward and a digital one. So it treats every notification like it matters, like it's essential, like your survival depends on checking, and you become trapped in a loop, seeking satisfaction that never comes, chasing a feeling of completion that the system is designed never to provide, because if you ever felt truly satisfied, you'd stop scrolling, and stopping is exactly what these platforms are built to prevent. Here's what most people don't understand about social media addiction. It's not really about the content, it's about what you're searching for beneath it. And often, what you're searching for is the same thing you've been searching for your whole life. Validation, proof that you matter, evidence that you're seen, valued, worthy. Your inner child, the one who maybe didn't get enough attention growing up, who learned that love was conditional, who believed they had to earn being noticed, they're the one scrolling, they're the one posting, and then obsessively checking to see if anyone cared. They're the one whose mood rises and falls with engagement metrics. They're the one who feels crushed when a post doesn't perform well. Because to that child, every like is proof of worth, every comment is validation, every follow is acceptance, and the absence of those things feels like rejection, like invisibility, like proof that they don't matter. So they keep trying, keep posting, keep performing, keep seeking external validation to fill an internal void. But here's the cruel truth. External validation never fills internal wounds. You can get 1,000 likes and still feel empty. You can have 10,000 followers and still feel unseen. Because what you're really looking for, what that inner child is desperately seeking, it can't be found on a screen. They're looking for unconditional love, for presence, for someone who sees them fully and says, you matter, just as you are, without performing. And social media offers the opposite, conditional validation based on performance, temporary attention that evaporates the moment you stop producing, so you keep chasing it, keep trying to earn something that was never yours to earn in the first place, and the addiction deepens. Because the need is real, but the solution is false. Here's one of the most toxic aspects of social media addiction. You're not just consuming content, you're comparing, constantly, automatically, unconsciously. Your brain sees someone's vacation photo and immediately calculates, they're happier than me. Someone's success post, they're more accomplished than me. Someone's relationship picture, they have what I'm missing. And every comparison is a wound. Every scroll is a reminder of everything you're not, don't have, haven't achieved. Psychologists call this social comparison theory, and it's devastating in the age of curated feeds, because you're not comparing your reality to their reality. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. You're comparing your messy morning to their perfect breakfast photo, your complicated relationship to their anniversary post, your regular Tuesday to their best moment of the month. And your brain doesn't know the difference. It just registers. They have more. They are more. I am less. And that feeling, that constant sense of inadequacy, it's addictive in its own way because it creates a cycle. You feel bad about yourself, so you scroll to distract from the feeling. But scrolling makes you feel worse because of all the comparison, so you need more distraction. So you scroll more. You're using the poison as the medicine and wondering why you're getting sicker. But here's what's even more insidious. The comparison doesn't just make you feel bad, it makes you perform harder. You start curating your own life more carefully, choosing the best angle, writing the perfect caption, creating a version of yourself that can compete, and you lose touch with what's real, with what you actually feel, with who you actually are beneath the performance. You become so focused on how your life looks to others that you forget to actually live it. There's a specific anxiety that social media creates, the fear of missing out, FOMO, the terror that somewhere, right now, something is happening that you're not part of, that people are gathering without you, that conversations are happening that you're not in, that life is moving forward and you're being left behind. And social media feeds that fear constantly because it shows you everything you're not doing, everyone you're not with, every moment you're not experiencing. You see your friends at a party you weren't invited to, your colleagues at a conference you couldn't attend, your peers achieving things you haven't achieved yet, and every image is proof that you're on the outside, that you're missing something, that life is happening elsewhere and you're stuck here alone, scrolling. So you check more frequently, because maybe if you stay connected to the feed, you won't miss anything. Maybe if you're always watching, you'll feel included, but it doesn't work that way, because watching isn't participating, seeing isn't experiencing, being online isn't the same as being present. In fact, the more you scroll, the more you miss, not what's happening online, but what's happening right in front of you. The sunset you didn't notice, because you were looking at photos of other sunsets, the conversation you didn't have because you were checking your phone, the moment of peace you missed because you were consumed by anxiety about what you're missing. And that's the paradox. Social media makes you feel like you're staying connected, but it's actually making you miss your own life. You're so afraid of missing out on the documented moments that you're missing out on the actual ones, the ones that don't need to be photographed, the ones that don't get likes, the ones that are just for you. Here's something people don't want to admit. Social media makes you lonelier. Not less lonely, more lonely, because it gives you the illusion of connection without the substance. It gives you the performance of intimacy without the reality. You can have hundreds of friends online and still feel completely alone. You can get dozens of birthday messages and still feel unseen, because digital connection isn't the same as real connection, and your nervous system knows the difference. Real connection requires presence, vulnerability, the risk of being truly seen, the messiness of actual intimacy. But social media offers something safer: connection without risk, intimacy without vulnerability, relationship without the hard parts. And your brain accepts it at first. Look, I have friends. Look, people are responding to me. Look, I'm not alone. But deep down, your body knows these aren't real conversations. This isn't real presence. This isn't the kind of connection that fills you, so you feel lonely while surrounded by virtual people, isolated while constantly connected, unseen while being watched by hundreds, and the addiction intensifies because you think, maybe if I post more, if I engage more, if I build my following, then I'll feel connected. But you won't, because quantity isn't quality, and performing connection isn't the same as experiencing it. What you're craving is someone sitting across from you, making eye contact, really listening, someone who knows you beyond your curated posts, someone who sees your mess and doesn't scroll past it, but that requires getting off the phone, showing up in person, being vulnerable in ways that social media doesn't require. And that's terrifying, because what if you show up and you're still lonely? What if real connection is as disappointing as digital connection? So you stay online, safe, controlled, performing connection while starving for the real thing. Here's what happens when you spend too much time on social media. You start living for the content. You start choosing experiences based on how they'll look online. You go to the restaurant, not because you want to eat there, but because it's Instagrammable. You visit the place not because you want to experience it, but because everyone else has been there. You start performing your life instead of living it. And slowly, insidiously, the performance becomes the reality. Or worse, you lose track of what the reality even is. Who are you when no one is watching? What do you actually like when you're not thinking about how it will be perceived? What would you do if you couldn't document it? Psychologists call this identity curating, and it's one of the most damaging aspects of social media addiction. You're not developing an authentic self. You're developing a brand, a version of you that gets engagement, that performs well, that people respond to. And that version might be so far from your actual self that you don't even recognize yourself anymore. You're funny online, but exhausted in person. You're confident in your posts, but anxious in your life. You're living this curated existence that looks perfect, but feels empty, because you're not being yourself. You're being the version of yourself that works on social media. And your inner child, they're getting lost in all that performance. They're buried under likes and follows and engagement metrics, and they're still asking the same question they've always asked. But who am I really? Does anyone care about that person? Would anyone love me if I stopped performing? Here's what social media addiction steals from you more than anything else. Presence. The ability to be here, now, fully. You're at dinner with people you love, but you're checking your phone. You're at a beautiful place, but you're thinking about the caption. You're in a moment that matters, but you're already thinking about how to document it. You're never fully anywhere, never fully with anyone, never fully experiencing anything, because part of you is always elsewhere, always online, always connected to the feed. And that fractured attention, that inability to be present, it's destroying your life in ways you might not even notice. You're missing conversations because you're half listening. You're missing experiences because you're half there. You're missing your own life because you're too busy documenting it for people who are also too distracted to really see it. And here's what's tragic. The moments that matter most, the ones that actually fill you, they require presence. Joy requires presence. Love requires presence. Peace requires presence. Wonder requires presence. But you can't be present when you're addicted to your phone. When you're constantly checking, scrolling, refreshing, you're stuck in a loop of distraction. And distraction by definition means you're not here. You're somewhere else. Somewhere digital. Somewhere that doesn't actually exist except in your screen. And meanwhile, your life is happening. Right here. Right now. And you're missing it. Let me tell you what social media addiction does to your body. It destroys your sleep. And sleep is when your brain heals, processes, integrates. Sleep is when your nervous system resets. Sleep is essential for mental health, emotional regulation, physical well-being. And you're sacrificing it for what? For scrolling. You're in bed, exhausted, knowing you should sleep. But you can't put the phone down. Just one more scroll, just one more check, just one more minute. And 1 minute becomes 30, becomes an hour, becomes 3 hours of lying in bed, blue light flooding your brain, cortisol spiking, sleep cycle destroyed, because the content is designed to keep you engaged. The algorithm learns when you're most vulnerable, most likely to keep scrolling, late at night, when your defenses are down, when you're tired and lonely and craving connection. That's when it feeds you the most engaging content. That's when it hooks you deepest, and you lose sleep, night after night. You lose the restoration your brain desperately needs, and then you're exhausted the next day, irritable, anxious, unable to focus. So you reach for your phone for a quick dopamine hit, and the cycle continues. Your body is suffering, your brain is suffering, your entire nervous system is in constant activation. And you know this, you feel it, but you can't stop, because the addiction is stronger than your awareness, stronger than your intention, stronger than your desire to be healthy. Here's what your loved ones won't tell you, or maybe they have, and you didn't hear it. Your phone addiction is hurting them, your social media obsession is damaging your relationships. They're talking to you, and you're not listening. You're with them, but you're not present. You're looking at your phone instead of at them. And every time you choose the screen over them, you're sending a message. This device is more important than you. These strangers online matter more than you do. You might not mean that, but that's what they receive. They watch you scroll through dinner. They watch you check your phone mid-conversation. They watch you photograph moments instead of experiencing them. And slowly, they stop trying, stop sharing, stop expecting your presence. Because you've taught them that you're not really here, that your attention is always elsewhere, that they have to compete with an entire internet for your focus. And here's what breaks my heart. You might not even notice them pulling away, because you're too distracted to see it, too absorbed in your feed to notice the loneliness in their eyes, too addicted to your device to feel the relationship dying. And by the time you look up, by the time you put the phone down and try to connect, it might be too late. They might have learned to live without your presence. They might have built walls. They might have stopped believing you can actually show up. And that loss, that slow death of real relationships while you chase digital ones, it's one of the most devastating costs of this addiction. Social media addiction doesn't just waste your time. It changes your brain. It creates anxiety that wasn't there before, or amplifies anxiety that was already present, because you're constantly stimulated, constantly comparing, constantly consuming information, opinions, crises, outrage. Your nervous system is in a state of perpetual activation, always on alert, always scanning, always ready to respond. And that's not how humans are meant to live. We're meant to have periods of rest, periods of calm, periods of just being. But social media doesn't allow for that. It demands constant engagement, constant vigilance, constant performance, and your body responds with cortisol, with adrenaline, with all the stress hormones that are meant for actual danger, not for scrolling through a feed. Your brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and a stressful post, between actual danger and someone's opinion that upset you. So it treats everything like an emergency, and you live in a state of chronic stress, and that manifests as anxiety, as racing thoughts, as insomnia, as irritability, as the inability to relax even when you're trying to. Because your nervous system has been hijacked, trained to be constantly reactive, constantly activated, constantly on edge, and you wonder why you're anxious all the time, why you can't calm down, why peace feels impossible. But the answer is in your hand, in the device you're holding, in the addiction you're feeding. Here's something you might not have realised. Social media addiction is destroying your creativity, your ability to think deeply, your capacity for original thought, because creativity requires boredom, it requires space, it requires the kind of quiet, undistracted mind that social media actively prevents. When was the last time you were truly bored? When you had nothing to do and no device to reach for? When was the last time you stared out a window and just thought? Let your mind wander? Allowed ideas to emerge from the quiet? Probably not recently. Because the moment you have a spare second, you fill it with scrolling. You're waiting in line. Scroll. You're on the toilet. Scroll. You have a free moment. Scroll. And in all that filling, you're killing the space where creativity lives, where original thoughts emerge, where your actual self, beneath all the consumption, gets to breathe. You're consuming constantly, taking in everyone else's thoughts, opinions, creations, but you're not creating anything yourself. You're not processing, not integrating, not allowing anything new to emerge from within you. You're just consuming, endlessly consuming, filling yourself with noise until there's no room for your own voice. And then you wonder why you feel empty, why you feel like you have nothing original to say, why you feel like you're losing yourself. Because you are. You're drowning in other people's content while your own inner world goes silent. Let me tell you what's really happening when you can't stop scrolling. Your inner child is looking for something they never got, something they're convinced they'll find if they just keep searching. Maybe it's approval, maybe it's belonging, maybe it's proof that they matter, maybe it's the attention they didn't get as a child, maybe it's the validation they were taught to earn, maybe it's the love they learned was conditional, and they're looking in the wrong place. Because social media can't give them what they need. It can give them likes, but not love. It can give them followers, but not friends. It can give them engagement, but not actual connection. And your inner child doesn't understand that. They just keep trying, keep posting, keep checking, keep hoping that this time, this notification, this comment will finally make them feel seen. But it won't. Because what they need isn't digital. It's real, present, human. They need someone to sit with them, to see them without judgment, to love them without conditions. They need you. Not performing, not curating, not seeking validation from strangers. Just you. Present. Here. Finally willing to turn off the noise and listen to what they've been trying to tell you all along. That you're enough. That you don't need to perform. That your worth isn't measured in likes or follows or engagement metrics. That you're worthy of love just as you are. Without the filter. Without the performance. Without the addiction. So here's what I need you to hear. You're allowed to log off. You're allowed to disconnect. You're allowed to choose your real life over your online life. You're allowed to set boundaries, to turn off notifications, to delete apps that drain you. You're allowed to be unreachable sometimes, to not respond immediately, to exist without documenting it. You're allowed to be bored, to be quiet, to be alone with your thoughts without filling every second with content. You're allowed to stop performing, to stop curating, to stop trying to earn love through likes. You're allowed to just be imperfect, undocumented, unseen by the masses, because the people who matter, they don't need to see your posts to know your worth. And your inner child, they don't need validation from strangers. They need validation from you. They need you to look at them and say, you're enough, just as you are, without the performance, without the addiction, without trying to prove anything to anyone. The phone will always be there. The feed will always refresh. The notifications will always come. But your life, this one precious life, it's happening right now. Not online, not in the feed, not in the curated moments, but here, in the messy, undocumented, real moments that no one else sees, in the conversations that don't get recorded, in the feelings that don't get posted, in the experiences that exist only in your memory. That's where life is. That's where connection is. That's where you are. The inner child is waiting, not online, not in the feed, not in the next notification, but here, in the quiet, in the present, in the moment you finally put down the phone and look up. And when you do, when you finally choose presence over performance, you'll discover something beautiful. You were never missing out. You were never being left behind. You were just looking in the wrong place. And everything you need, everything you've been searching for, it's been here all along, waiting for you to come home.